All right, Sprocket Talk viewers and listeners, are you ready to talk about the little pain in the butt that happens in most databases? That's duplicate contacts, dirty data, being able to have the right conversation with the right people and personalization and all sorts of fun stuff like that? Well, then this interview is for you. Hey, you know what time it is.
Are you a HubSpot user looking for fun and interactive education that helps you be better at HubSpot? Then welcome to Sprocket Talk.
That's right, I'm your boy George B. Thomas from SprocketTalk.com, coming back with another educational video. Hey, if you like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell as well for instant notifications, and so that we know that you're part of the Sprocket Talk community. But before we dive into the deep end, let's get to know Ian a little bit better, who he is, where he came from, and what he's doing at HubSpot.
So I came to HubSpot about 6 weeks ago by way of acquisition. So a couple friends and I, freshman year of school, actually, we went to Tufts, started a company because I think we were masochistic or something like that, where we would basically aggregate like a database of researcher profiles. So we started out just in biotech, which is very Boston. But over the 4 years and then the 2 years that we worked on it out of school before we got acquired by HubSpot, we kind of pivoted more towards just helping customers manage their customers. So what we would do is we would give recommendations of people to talk to every week to the sales team. And towards the end, people really liked kind of just getting like a weekly newsletter of who they should reach out to. And then HubSpot liked it too, and now I'm here at HubSpot. I'm the new product manager for a lot of the artificial intelligence features that would actually touch you guys and touch customers.
As I listen to Ian and his historical journey with AI and databases, I started to think about big data and how easy it can get dirty. And so I asked Ian, why is it important for customers, for HubSpot users, to be paying attention to keeping a clean database? This is what he had to say.
Yeah, so we really did stumble in it because like I mentioned, we started in biotech. So for 4 years, we would just sell to basically marketing departments of biotech companies. But once we graduated and decided we were going to actually do this full time, we pretty quickly realized we were basically selling leads. We pretty quickly realized that we didn't want to be doing that. We kind of cut the business and started talking. We already were talking to all of these sales and marketing folks through biotech people. And we basically just interviewed them and we were like, what problems do you have? And we found that there's so much data available now that people feel overwhelmed. And so they would always tell us they wanted new leads, but they already have all the information they need. They just needed to actually make it actionable. And to kind of answer the other part of your question, salespeople make so many decisions in a day. Like you can almost have decision fatigue. Like if you're a good salespeople, you're switching contexts over and over and over again. So if you can even automate 10% of that, you can just make your job so much smoother and a little more pleasant and more efficient.
A pleasant and efficient sales process? Wow. I wanted to dig more into this, so I asked Ian, how is AI and Ian going to help remove some of that sales decision fatigue that he talked about?
That's a really good question. So if you think about artificial intelligence, people use it as kind of a buzzword and it's kind of fluffy. And I think artificial intelligence is really good at making very specific decisions on like fuzzy logic. So in computers, you have logical statements, so like if, else, whatever. Artificial intelligence is really good if you would have to write like 100 if-else statements. You can just give it examples of data and it will kind of infer those statements for you, which is a helpful way I usually think of it. So when you have messy data, that promise becomes less effective. Because if you're feeding the artificial intelligence the wrong information or incomplete information, it's just not going to know what to do. So you can't even think about artificial intelligence until you have clean data in your database. And that problem doesn't just affect artificial intelligence. It affects marketing, sales, and services across the board. Like if you don't have a unified history of a person, it's hard to even coordinate across your sales team. Like maybe two people are going to reach out at the same time and that customer is going to get really upset.
At this point of the interview, I wanted to go away from the bots and back to the humans and really dig into Ian's mind and ask, how do most HubSpot users get themselves in trouble in the first place? This is what he had to share.
I think the problem. I'm going to start really high, and then I'll get into smaller. I'll get a little lower level. The promise of the CRM is that you can kind of standardize your organization around one place, and everyone can be on the same page and move in the same direction. But dirty data, and in particular duplicates, because dirty data can mean a multitude of things, which we want to help you all with. But duplicates in particular kind of make this promise a little less effective, because if sales, marketing, and service each have a profile for a customer, all of a sudden you're not coordinating anymore. So it looks very different for different departments, but for salespeople, we've had customers. So one customer, RxSafe, they sell like $100,000 piece of equipment, and they've actually had duplicates where each duplicate contact has a different address. So they'll ship an $100,000 tool to the wrong person, to the wrong address, because their data is just not standardized and it's not up to date. And I don't have to explain how that causes issues for everyone involved, not least the customer. Marketing's a little different. I think marketing runs into issues in areas of like attribution and reporting. So it's hard to know if you're being effective, but it's also hard to personalize when you're a marketer. So if you're trying to send out personalized content or personalized emails, if the data on one customer is scattered across 4 different profiles, it's going to be impossible to target as effectively as you want.
Moving on, I started to see that this was not a marketing or just a sales and marketing problem, but an entire organization problem. So I asked Ian, why is it important to pay attention to deduping for every level of a company?
I mean, I think it all comes down to a unified profile and a unified history of what your company has done with a contact or even a company. I'll give a service example. Yeah, service is a little newer for us, so we don't have as many fleshed out use cases. But if you duplicate contacts, kind of splits what you can know about a contact. And for example, if you're a service rep and you go into a contact and it looks like no one's ever reached out to this person or no one's reached out to this customer in, like, call it 2 years, you're going to send them a message and you're going to respond very differently than if they had a service call the month before. Like, you're not going to be able to delight your customer if you don't know that they were already upset with something, or they don't know that they liked a feature, or you can't tailor what you talked to them about your previous interactions. So I think what you lose with duplicates is this unified history more than anything else.
Finally, I felt like we had enough foundation that it was time to dive into the tool. So I asked Ian, hey, explain what this new tool is, what people can do, and maybe even how to use it.
So this has been the top idea on the HubSpot Ideas Forum for something like 3 years. And we heard you. We heard the feedback. It just previously has been a very hard problem to solve, because basically to find duplicates, you have to compare every record to every other record in the database. Not to get too technical, but artificial intelligence kind of helps us solve that problem by narrowing it down. So now is a good time to fix it. We found that a lot of customers, there's like a gap, right? So like as you become a bigger organization, you need a lot of like heavy duty data integrity tools. And we found a gap between people who just needed to know where the duplicates were and merge them, and then the bigger companies who actually pay. Like, there are people out there who will process and clean and make sure all your data is good, but for a majority of our customers, you just don't need that. So basically what this tool is it just kind of right in the app will tell you if we found duplicate contacts or companies, and we'll just give you a list and let you merge them right there. So it's pretty basic, and we think it solves maybe 90% of use cases for finding duplicates.
As a HubSpot user, historically, sometimes I've fallen into some gotcha areas. So with this new De-Dupe tool, I was curious, are there those areas? So I asked Ian, and this is what he had to share with us.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing, because yeah, like all new things, there's definitely some rough edges. So the first thing to mention is this only shows you the top 2,000 duplicates. It won't show you. So if you have a giant database with more than 2,000 duplicates, you won't see all of them, which is just good to keep in mind. So then the other thing is we kind of batch calculate these duplicates. So every 2 weeks, we'll go through and basically figure out if there are any more duplicates. So if you get to the bottom of your 2,000, 2 weeks later, we'll look and see, do you have more? And we're working to improve that over time as we get feedback on the tool, but that's just the way it is right now. The other thing is that if you have Salesforce connected, you're going to have some merging issues. So this isn't necessarily a duplicate problem, but it's a big problem that's come up with the duplicate tool. If you merge two contacts in HubSpot, that won't be reflected in Salesforce. It only is a one-way sync. That's just the way that Salesforce has been set up. It's like legacy baked into the product. I believe it's on some roadmap to be changed somewhere, but I don't make any promises. Just keep in mind, if you merge two records in HubSpot, it won't be reflected as Salesforce.
The only thing left really to talk about the tool is how to get started. So I asked Ian, how do we get started?
Sure. Yeah, that's a really good question. So for all pro and enterprise customers, it's turned on automatically. All you do is you go into contacts, then there's like a little actions button in the top right-hand corner. And if you click on that actions button, there'll be a manage duplicates. And I believe it's for companies as well. So no action on your end required. Nothing you got to do.
You know me, Sprocket Talk viewers and listeners, I always like to get some words of wisdom from the people that we're interviewing. So I asked Ian, when it comes to databases, when it comes to big data, what are some words of wisdom that you would want the viewers to pay attention to? He shares these very important words with us.
Keep it simple. I think a lot of customers I've seen, so at Ascena, we plug into people's CRMs, and a lot of people will jump to customization really quickly, but you'd be surprised what you can get with out-of-the-box functionality. Even if it requires you tweaking your workflows a little bit, the simpler you can keep it, the more gains you're going to get. Because every tool out there is built to work on the standard flow. Anytime you change even one thing, a lot will tend to break. So if you're going to change something, and I know scaling organizations do have to customize stuff, just be very mindful of what you're changing and try and change as little as possible. And recognize that when you make that change, it's going to be a big investment. Like you can't just like change a property and expect that to just kind of work itself out. You have to think through all of the possible ramifications of adding or changing or basically maintaining your data in the database. It's not easy. It's hard. I think messy data is a problem for everyone. Duplicate contacts and other issues like sparse data properties. It's a problem that everyone has, so we're going to keep working on it. So stay tuned.
Last but not least, you may want to connect with Ian, and here is a simple way that he would like you to connect with him if you have questions about the De-Dupe tool or probably some other AI ideas for HubSpot moving forward.
Shoot me an email. My email is ileaman@hubspot.com.
Well, Sprocket Talk viewers, that is a wrap, and was that not amazing? Look, now you can go into your HubSpot portal, you can click that actions button, you can start to de-dupe your database and have better conversations and have cleaner data inside of your database. It's an exciting time, and I can't wait to see what they build onto this starting portion of cleaning database tools inside of HubSpot. Hey, did you like this video? Then make sure you give us a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for instant notifications as well. But more importantly, make sure you head over to sprockettalk.com for more actionable and tactical HubSpot user tools. While you're over there, make sure you check out our Unpacked episodes as they unpack each individual HubSpot tool so that you can get 100% ROI out of your HubSpot portal. Until next time, I'm your boy George B. Thomas saying be a happy, helpful, humble human, and along the way, make sure you're doing some happy HubSpotting.